This story is also coming from Matamoros. Like I said, I got a little bit curious and started looking up stories from Matamoros, which borders Brownsville, Texas, and I found so many good ones, but this is one that I just want to share so bad. This is the type of story where like I wish I can make short films just to watch this play out. So this man's name is Roelio and he lives in Matamoros, and what he's about to tell us happened in 2013. He explains that even though it's been over a decade since this has happened to him, every time he thinks about it, sends chills down his spine. I forgot, there's skeleton hands holding onto a jewel. There are $5 at Walmart in the Halloween section. So Roelio works at a cemetery and he had his fair share of weird things happening that made him question reality or like seeing just strange things there. Sometimes in order to make some extra cash, he will paint gravestones, or if people are there visiting their loved ones, he'll go up to them and ask if they need anything. So there was one time where his wife was really sick and he didn't have enough money to get all the medicine that she needed. He was really desperate, and he just so happened to see this lady who went to visit her dad's grave, so he went up to her and asked her if she needed anything, but unfortunately she said no. That moment he was very desperate, like I said, and he had to tell the lady. He was like, look, my wife is really sick, I don't have enough money to buy all of her medicine, can I please just do something? Whatever you want to give me is fine. And the lady's like, oh, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and clean my dad's gravestone and I'll pay you. After he finished cleaning her dad's gravestone, he said that he was joking around with her, and he's like, look, I showered your dad really well, and she started giggling along with him. She ends up giving him the equivalent of $200 US and tells him, here, so you can get your wife the medicine or anything else that she needs, and obviously he was very grateful to her. He then says that this lady told him something that he had never heard before. She tells him, whenever you're in need of money, go to a deceased person's grave, light up a candle, and ask them for it. She then gives him some extra money and asks him if he can put a candle on her dad's gravestone tomorrow, and obviously he agrees. He actually listened to what this lady told him, because over time, anytime he needed money, he would get a candle, go to a deceased person's grave, and he would ask for money. And he wanted to do it in a very respectful way, so he would actually tell the gravestone, like the deceased person, hey, this is why I need the money. Like, he wasn't doing it recklessly, he just really needed the money in the moment. He said that it worked, and he was actually doing really well, so over time he stopped doing it altogether because he didn't need to anymore. So years have passed and his kids grew up. One of them is 4 and the other one is 7, and they're ready to go back to school. So he ends up taking them to the store, getting them backpacks, shoes, and the uniforms that are needed, but that left him without any money. Even though he bought them the shoes, the backpack, the outfits, they still needed school supplies, and he was left with nothing after that. He also said that he's been at the cemetery waiting for people to come to see if he can offer some services and get some tips so that he can get those school supplies for his kids. Unfortunately, no one was coming, or nobody really needed him, so he wasn't able to make that money. By this point, it was Friday. He wasn't able to get that money, but then he remembered the lady, the one that told him what he should do years ago and go place a candle. So that's exactly what he did. He went to get a candle and he actually put it on the lady's father's gravestone, and he did tell him, like, look, I really need the money, I really want to buy my kids school supplies, can you please help me? He waited impatiently for someone to come to the cemetery and hoping that they needed him so that he can get a tip, but it was noon, and then it was 3 o'clock, and then it was 4, and nobody had come to the cemetery. He gave up and he just thought to himself, like, man, that candle trick didn't work today, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna get that money for the school supplies. It was around 5:40 and he had to close down the cemetery at 6, so that's what he was gonna go do. He was walking towards the gates, but that's also when he heard a sound. It's actually a guy. He said the guy looks really nice. He had jeans on, he had like a square style shirt, and he went up to him right away and he asked if he could help him do anything, and the guy said yes. He's like, here, grab this. It was like 4 packs of beer and chips and just like random stuff. He said that they walked to this big mausoleum. The guy took out a key and opened the door to the mausoleum, and he helped put all of the beer and, you know, the chips and everything inside. Once he was done, he asked him, hey boss, do you need anything else? Maybe I can go get you some water. Is there anything that you need? And the guy tells him no, but he's taking his wallet out and gives him a $50 bill. When he sees the 50, he looks at him and he's like, hey, I don't have change for this. And the guy's like, oh no, that's for you, go ahead and keep it. So obviously he leaves. He's so happy. He's thanking God God, and he's apologizing to that lady's, deceased father, saying, I'm so sorry I didn't believe in you. Thank you for coming through. And obviously he went home so happy that he was able to get those school supplies for his kids. However, the following day, really early in the morning, he gets a phone call from his boss asking him to meet him inside of the cemetery. When he gets there, he notices that the boss is at the same mausoleum that guy he had helped the night before was at, and there was a few other people there with him. Am I saying mausoleum right? You know what I'm talking about. If I'm not saying it right, you know what I mean. When he gets to where they are, he says that the boss looked at him and said, did you or anybody else drink beer at this mausoleum yesterday or last night? And he was like, oh no, it was that guy that came. He came like right before closing, and I did help him put the beer in there, but I didn't drink beer. I left and he stayed here. He obviously started describing the guy physically and what he was driving and everything like that. As he's describing the guy to him, because he's like, I did not drink beer, he notices that one of the lady just sits down. Like, it almost looked like she couldn't hold herself up anymore, and she just sat. And then another lady just started crying. He didn't understand what was happening, but obviously he needed his job, so he's like, I don't know what happened, but I promise you I didn't drink beer. I didn't make this mess, because there was like beer and like chips everywhere in that mausoleum. He even explains to them, like, he gave me money, he gave me a tip when I helped put this stuff in there, and I was happy because I needed that money for my kids for their school supplies. And they all start crying, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is going on? So finally a girl came up to him, had her phone and had a picture, and shows the picture to him and says, was it this guy? He was like, yeah, that's the guy. Call him so that he could tell you that I just helped him. I didn't drink the beer. Call him, he will tell you that he was the one that stayed here. The girl who had just showed him that picture on the phone explains to him that that's her brother, but it's been 2 years that he has been passed, and that mausoleum was his. They were all actually there that day because it was his birthday, and they were just gonna come bring him flowers and beer and stuff like that. In that moment, he felt like his legs were about to give up, because he's like, no, I saw him. Like, I saw him. He was here. He gave me money. Like, what do you mean he's been deceased? He did end up cleaning that mausoleum for them, but he just couldn't stop thinking about it, because he swears that guy was there. Like, he gave them money. He, what? Like, this is impossible. He believes that God gave that guy permission to celebrate his birthday however he wanted, and that maybe he heard his, desperate cries and how he needed that money, and he was able to make that happen for him. I don't find this story scary. I find it very sweet, but like, what are your thoughts? I want to hear what you guys think about it, because this sounds so sweet to me. Like, it's a little scary, yeah, but also like the way that maybe these different deceased people came together to make it happen for him, because he really needed it for his family, for his kids. It's crazy. I want to cry right now. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta go. Mausoleum. It was mausoleum the whole fucking time. I kept saying mausoleum. Bro, this video took me like 15 minutes to record. If you hear me say, what was I saying? Mausoleum. Oh my god, what is it? It's mausoleum, you stupid bitch. If you hear me say mausoleum, just know that in my heart I meant mausoleum. Okay, thank you. Just know that I'm translating this from Spanish to English, so Google is free. I have no excuse. Okay, I'm sorry. Bye.